My name is Jillian Jenay Mays. I am the owner of Bougie and Conceited Barber Beauty Studio. You are now watching Queen's Table.
Thank you. Welcome to an episode of Queen's Table. I am your host and creator, Newbie Olori, and this video is brought to you by Moa Studios. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we have special guest Jillian Jenay Mays with us today. And Miss Mays is an entrepreneur and business owner, a modern day Renaissance woman with accolades streaming from being a licensed beautician, owner of Bougie Virgin Hair Extension, wigs, apparel, and cosmetics, to being a credit repair specialist, a real estate agent. Miss Mays does it all with style and grace. This queen does not just do it all, she has survived it all. With both her gift and drive, this queen speaks from the heart as a domestic violence survivor. This Bronx, New York native works to inspire others to recognize their gifts, talents, and beauty in order to be confident in who they are. And as I always say, we are not created to have just one talent. Every gift God has given us aids us to do what we are put here to do, and that is help. So welcome so much, Miss Mays, for coming on Queen's Table. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Great. We excited to have you. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to not only thank you for being here, but thank you for taking the time to come on the show. And I'm super excited because I did get a chance to read your bio and understand all of the things that you do. So I want to emphasize the fact that you are a Renaissance woman. You're doing great things. You're helping people out here look good, save their credit. You know, you helping inspire and encourage, you know, the woman or the child that's been through some things. You're just helping a lot. And so we thank you for that. I definitely want to know a little bit about you. Give us some of your background. First of all, for you to be a native of New York City,
Yes.
How did you get here to South?
At the age of 18, 19, and I'm now, almost 38 on the 19th of this month. So, that's how I got here. A change to raise our children and start fresh.
Okay, and that's great. I've been here 3 years, and I can say the same thing. It's definitely a change nonetheless, but for the better, always. Yes. For the better. So that's good. Now, I want you to be able to talk about your lovely family. I did read in your bio you are a mom of 4,
yes,
and you're also married to your lovely
yes,
lovely partner of life.
Yes.
So speak a little bit about your babies, because I know they're gonna want to see their mommy on.
Yes. So I'm starting in order from the oldest to the youngest.
Okay.
So I have a 19-year-old, I have a 18-year-old, and 14, about to be 15,
okay,
and then a 5-year-old. So my first two is 11 months apart. They both was born in 2000, January and December 2000. My 19-year-old daughter, name is Lanisha, then is Jadon, Jalil. That's what happens when you have so many kids. And they drive you a little crazy. You can't keep up. So they remind me of myself. They shy, they outgoing, they somewhat outspoken. I'm just trying to teach them how to be bosses, and they giving me the little runaround with that. So
okay, I like that. So, let's start with, because first of all, I gotta let you know, when you walk through these doors, I was like, yes, sis. Serving, slaying, everything. Like, I love it.
Thank you.
So I did get a chance to also read up on you and see that you are the owner of, what was that, Bougie? Say it for me, because I always get tongue tied.
Bougie, Bougie.
Okay.
Some of them, some people like to use the Bougi. Mine has the H in it.
Okay. And now, I'm asking this for personal as well, because I'm getting married in October, so I need to come holler at you, right?
Okay.
So, what is it that got you into that, just overall, like the beauty field? Because it varies from hair to makeup to jewelry to clothing. And like I said, you served when you walked in here, so I'm loving it.
Thank
So
you.
what got you into that?
All right, so I started doing hair ever since I was 5 years old. I would actually pick up hair off the floor from my cousin's house when I go to their house on the weekends. I had twin cousins, and for whatever reason, I don't know why I had to go to their house every weekend, but I was always at my aunt's house every weekend, and every weekend it would be braiding hair.
Okay.
And I would pick the scraps up, or I asked, can I join in? I could braid, trying to prove myself to them like I could do it just as good as y'all. So I used to always take the scraps off the floor, put it in a little grocery bag, and take it home with me to braid all of my Barbie dolls, all of my dolls. Everybody had poetic justice braids or micros. To my dolls. And then eventually I started braiding my own hair.
Okay.
I never liked looking any type of way. So I used to hate when my aunt used to do my hair, or if my hair wasn't fixed right, or I get off the buzz, or get home from school and that bang with that scrungy roller had the bang looking all twist out, and then by the time I get home, my bang like this. So I mean, girl, I used
the struggle was real.
It was real, and I just was like, when can I braid my own hair? When can I do my own hair? She said, when you're a teenager. And I was like, how old is that? 13, 11, 10? She said, no, 16. I was like, no. So that's how it started, and I'm here. I'm still doing it, but I never thought that I would actually go to school for it. I knew back in my time when I was young. Look back in my time. I wanted to be more in the business field. Like I thought I was going to be in some big office building with my nice big office, or in the medical field. Okay. But when I discovered how long it take you to go to school to be in the medical field, I said, never mind. Literally. I did. And I kind of did step into it just a little bit. I thought about being a phlebotomist. And then somebody was like, no, be a patient care tech, And you could do, the vital signs and this and that and the third. So I enrolled into the school. I was pregnant with my third child. And I was working full-time in an office as an assistant. And I would get home so late because I was night classes. But when they told me that we was about to do clinics, and we already watched a video of the contaminations and the bed sores, I was grossed out just from that. So I quit. And then when they told me that I had to bag bodies and clean the bodies, I said, somebody lied to me. Somebody told me patient care tech did that. So I enrolled for cosmetology. So no.
Like the only thing you gotta bag is hair, or sweep that up at the end when you finish getting everybody's wigs together. Oh yeah, fortunately, I was in that field, and I did it straight out of high school, and stayed there the whole time. And when it got to that point, I was just like, you know what, I'm good, and I'm grateful that nobody ever passed in my presence, because then I would have had to do it. So I was just always like,
I'm that scary girl, scared the body, the dead might come back alive. Yeah. I'm just, I just can't.
So Walking Dead is not your show, right? So talk a little bit more about your brand, Bougie Virgin Hair Extensions, because this is the place where all the queens can come and get it together, right?
Yes. Okay. So basically, I had a salon for 9 years. I closed it down in 2016 because I just had so much stuff going on, and I was physically, mentally burnt out. Okay. And then on top, I had other little issues going on in my personal life, and I just was like, shut it down. Just shut it down. So while I had my own salon, being that I do it all, and having clients that go to the beauty supply store to purchase their hair, they get frustrated with trying to find the best hair. We send them in there for one thing. The beauty supply people behind the counter tell them, oh, this is the best hair. And they get to us, and then it's not the best hair. It's not what I told you to get. So I'm like to make it easy on my clients and have a one-stop shop so they don't have to worry about it. I'm like, I did all the work so you don't have to. Okay. We just sit down, let me make you beautiful or whatever it is and be done. So it started out with me having my own, because I do a lot of sew-ins and a lot of silk blowouts, natural hair and makeup and all of that. So I discovered to come up with, a name. Slow down. So the name came about because I was always said that I was bougie. Okay. And so I just was like, I'm gonna really give them something to talk about. So I'm gonna start my little brand called Bougie. So that's how that came about, and then everything else followed. I just wanted to take the middleman out of everything, stop referring to people to other people when I could have it, and
going
make
back
my
to that boss mentality, right?
Yeah. So that's how all of that came about.
Okay, I feel that. See, everything works in a circle. You went to a point in your life where you're like, okay, no, it's time for me to be the boss of my own, and now you're passing that down to your children as well, because they need to understand the importance of having your own.
Mm-hmm.
And in this day and time, we really need to understand the importance of having our own. So shout out to you for that. And I want to touch on all topics. This is a topic that's a lot more serious as well, but I had the opportunity of reading your story and finding out that you are a domestic violence survivor.
Mm-hmm.
So touch on that, and kind of for the viewers that's watching, tell us a little bit about your story behind that.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just start from my childhood. Okay. So that's where it always starts. That's always the root of the problem in any situation. Sometimes is so as a child, I was surrounded by a lot of domestic violence. My mother was abused. I had close relatives that was abused. I had friends that was abused. Growing up in New York, in the ghetto, in the hood, you just. It happens every day, every second, every minute, blink of an eye. Somebody's getting some hands put on, and you think it's okay because you see it all the time. And it's like, I don't know, like how to say it, but you just get immune to it, and you just think it's okay. So basically, but not ever saying that I agree that it was okay, because there have been times that people that I love dearly was being abused, and I saw it happen in front of my face, and I just was like, as I got older, I was like, I would never ever allow a guy to put his hands on me. That's just disrespectful. I just don't care, whatever. So I learned to never say never, because then I actually happened to be that person that let it happen to me, and it shocked me for a long time, and I just be like, I can't believe I said I would never. I was that girl. Was like, I ain't no guy that was gonna be that of me, and it happened, and I mean, because you just think that you so in love and this person's going to change, and you trying to just bear with them, but when you discover, you finally open up the shades and look and see, like, it's a cycle. This is not going to end, and it's not going to end well. So for a lot of things that I went through it was just crazy. Like, it's just so much. I'm not even sure if I want to go so deep. But I also said to myself, I should have paid attention. If he could yell and put his hands on his siblings and his moms, then why he won't do it to me? But it was just crazy, because it's not like it happened right away. We was dating for like a year or two. Okay. And then somewhere something happened, and it was like somebody said I just hit a
trigger.
Yeah. And I just was like, it's crazy. And then I started talking to one of his friends, and his friends was like, oh yeah, he dated this girl and he did the same. I'm like, well, why I never saw this? Why I didn't know? So, that pretty much happened. But I must say, this is my second abusive relation, but I want to say that it's like the worst relationship that I had, because like the childhood relationship that I had, I was young, I was a teenager, I was wild, I was a tomboy, I love fighting, it didn't bother me. But as I got older with that, by the time I got into freshman in high school, I had to let that go, and then I ended up getting into that.
What I want to know is, from that first experience to going through what you went through, and then even getting to the point of realization that you had to go, and that you had to do or make better for the situation that you was once in, what's the overall takeaway that you got from that? I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah.
But what is the main thing that has carried you, like, even to this point that you've learned?
First, I'm gonna say, because it is a lot, and I kind of got sidetracked trying to narrow through all the stuff. But I had to come to the place in my life when I was in a relationship, because one of the things that kind of like kept me there too is like, this never happened. We've been together for so long. He treated me like a queen. He did all kind of things to me, for me and everything. And this just came out of nowhere. And then second, we had 2 kids together, and I just was like, I never wanted to be that woman that had multiple baby daddies. I just didn't want that type of life. And because I grew up without my mother and my father, I wanted to have both parents in the house with my kids. So that was another struggle that I had to face. Like, I gotta let this go, but I don't want to. Like, a torn, just like, battling with myself with that situation. But when I felt like my life was being at risk, and the abuse kept getting worse, or the threats, and I had to stop taking threats lightly. I'm like, one day this probably could happen. So one particular time, he basically hit me in front of my kids, and he was like in Pampers. They was like 10, 11, maybe 11, 12 months or something like that. And it just took me to the place where my mother and my father was in that same situation. And I was like, I have to break this curse. So for me, I had to break this generational curse, and it had to start with me, because I'm like, I have a boy, a son, and a daughter, and I don't want my son to think that it's okay to grow up because his father did it to his mother, and my mother sat there and she's dealt with it and she stayed in the relationship, and for my daughter to repeat what I'm doing when I saw my mother getting beat by my father. So that was it for me, and literally the next morning, it was a wrap. People will always say positive things to me and to letting me know that I don't deserve this. You need to get out. You deserve better. You are beautiful. Da 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 da. So my word to people that's watching this podcast, that if you have someone in a domestic violence situation, and just because you feel like what you're saying to them is going in one ear and not the other, it's in a way it is, in a way it's not. They just not going to leave until they're ready to leave, when they feel like they've done all they can do and there's nothing else, and they get out. Some people don't make it out. But that was for me. And when I had that moment to just try to figure out what I'm going to do because I'm getting tired of it, I heard every last voice. And it just gave me energy and the strength just to go about. And no, I did not struggle with low self-esteem. It's just I thought I was in love, and this was my kid's father. And that was that for me.
And I think a lot of people think that sometimes, like the correlation between it has to be low self-esteem for you to be in these situations. But you did mention like that was something that kind of was abrupt. You didn't see it coming. You didn't see any signs. It's just something that just happened. And you did mention like, I thought, not me, and a lot of people go through those things. And you mentioned a lot of things as we've been talking, but I want to touch on when you say you wanted to be able to break generational curses and things like that. And I often have the conversation that that's one of the things and one of the reasons why I created Chosen Queen, because I want women to understand that we are powerful enough to do just that. And it's not, I think with our generation, we're recognizing and understanding that we have the power to do that. Because in our past generations, it's not saying that they necessarily dropped the ball, but I don't think they understood the importance of breaking it. So it's like now we see it and we're like, how can we do that? So for you to even say that, out your mouth, and that's something that you're living in day to day, to break that chain and to break that cycle, that's to be commended and that's to be praised, because this is the time is now to do just that. And because you're doing that, now your children are growing up in an environment and in an energy field where they can say, you know what, I can do the same thing.
I learned to pray about it, ask God for it, seal it. And for some reason, I can't be with someone that is in the streets. I need somebody got a 9 to 5. I need somebody that's going to do more and build a foundation for us to, have our kids and live a life till we can.
To elevate. Life is about elevation.
So that particular time, I just was like, being that this is my second domestic violence, and this was more serious for me because I feel like I was more of an adult now. I'm 18, 19. I got 2 kids. I have to be a role model to my kids. And I'm just like, as bad as it hurt that I'm not with my kid's father, and I know that I'm probably going to get with somebody else and have another child maybe, I just was like, I have to pray. I'm sitting in my living room because there been times where I couldn't sleep. I was literally sleeping with one eye open and one eye closed. And it was like when he was gone, I just had such a peace. And I just was like, I need to pray about who I'm going to let in my life next. And I literally prayed from the height, the personality, every single thing that I wanted in my next man, my husband, whatever it was going to be. I even prayed that they would take my 2 children as if we created them together. And that down to the mother and the sisters and brothers, I asked God to bless me with sister-in-laws. And if it was a brother, that's cool. But I just wanted a family because I'm far away from mine. And I'm all the way in South Carolina, and I'm not looking to go back to New York. So, because I hear a lot of people don't get along with their in-laws and their mothers and their father-in-laws and whatever. So I just prayed that my sister-in-laws would be around the same age or a year apart or whatever, because I wanted to grow together. I didn't want to have somebody older than me, You know, so...
Yeah.
And God did that. God bless me. I just say, my husband is short, but I said, as long as he's taller than me, I don't care. He ain't got to be as tall as the last one. And I just was like, I want a pretty boy, but a little rough on the edges. And that could defend me and fight and do whatever it is. He ain't no punk. And just treat me like a queen, like a woman's supposed to be treated. All of that. And when we got together, we became friends, and he took me on my first date. And he said, and this is how I knew he was the one, when he said, I know what, you need to be treated like a queen. I was like, that wasn't my prayer.
He said the magic word.
He said the magic word, and I just was like,
oh, really?
Okay. What? Did that just happen? Because I'm still new in Christ. And I just was like, wow. So my first time that a pastor prophesied that God did something in the earth, in the grounds, to get me in South Carolina, and that this is not a mistake. We are ordained to be together, destined to be together. And I just was like, you know, and he was praying that if I was the one, and that pastor gave both of us our answers. And I just was like, so pray for what you want.
Yes. Our stories are pretty similar. Our story, when you know you deserve better. And when you know that this is just the cards that life dealt, but it doesn't have to be the ones that I have to keep in my hand. You know what I mean? So to be able to, like you say, speak, because you spoke to your situations. Even in the moments where it may not have seemed as hope-filled, you still spoke enough to get yourself from point A to point B. And not only from point A to point B, but to get yourself to B and then stack all your blessings on top of each other. Because a lot of times as women, I used to say all the time, a lot of times as women, we don't always see the bigger picture, because sometimes we can be emotional. Emotional is not bad, but emotional sometimes just stops you from looking at everything that's on the table. Emotional sometimes just puts you at the door. You get what I'm saying? So even though you say, look, I don't know how to pray, or at that time I didn't know how to pray, it's like, but God put it in your heart enough to spark the conversation with the Father.
And I needed to be at them services that I went to, so I could know how to pray for such a time as what I was going through, so I could get the man that I got now in my dreams. Girl, Lord Jesus. Okay. And I want to also say, just because he's the man in my dream does not mean that we don't go through, because people get that twisted too, you know, but it's all good.
Exactly. Okay. And how long if you don't mind, how long have you been married?
Oh my God, since 2004. Okay.
So
how many years is that?
Longer than me, because like I said, we're getting married in October, so I want to know what wisdom can you give newlyweds, like, because I ask everybody I don't care if you say you was married a year, okay, what experience
you made it, because some people can't make that.
This I know, sis. So what wisdom can you give? I'm listening, I'm taking notes, but for our, like, even for our married listeners or engaged listeners and newlywed listeners, what advice can you give, or wisdom can you share?
You got to learn how to communicate, regardless if it's going to hurt each one of us. We got to open it up. We got to talk about it, because I'm in here for the long run. I've been through too much, and you know, you've been through some things, and that's how it works for us. And we don't have joint accounts. I want one now, but I mean, it's no big deal. Because people get married and say, "Oh, everything joint." For us, I guess because I work hard all my life, and I'm just like, I don't want nobody to control my money, and I don't want him to think that I'm trying to control his money. So it never been an issue, you know. If I don't have, he gives me. If I don't have, I give him, and that's it. And I feel like that's probably why we don't have so much arguments in my house, because everybody that I know got joint accounts. Is chaos. It's crazy. From what I see and hear, it's crazy. So I'm like, well, maybe we need to keep it like that. I don't know. We could just open up a joint one just to say we have a joint one, but we ain't got to put all our money in that one account. We could just say 50-50.
As well, because in your story, you were saying that you do enjoy making sure people that you come in contact are confident in who they are. Now, you already had the bubbly personality. I could tell you could work a room. Like, people would like to hang with you. You get what I'm saying? So how is it that you go about building that confidence in the people that you meet? Because it take a lot for us to have our own confidence, but then it's a whole nother ballgame when you're trying to pour that same confidence into somebody else. So how do you do it?
All right, so how all of that came about right there was because I feel like it kind of takes me back to my childhood. Everything for me starts in my childhood. I feel like I didn't get a lot of compliments when I was a child. And I was wild, I was a little rough on the edges, but it ain't stopped the guys from hollering at me. Okay. You know, if my cousins or my friends or whatever never gave me a compliment, there was always a guy that gave me a compliment, and it just made me like, okay, you know, whatever. So I had to find that self-confidence. I had to find that from within my own self and look in the mirror sometimes, because sometimes if you, just imagine, you go out for a whole year, just say, and nobody never say, oh, I like your hair. Or I like something about you. You kind of start like, wonder what it's like. Because all my friends and my cousins, everybody around me get compliments. Well, why I don't, you know? So I had to, because for one point in my life, I kind of was wondering, like, dang, am I ugly? What's wrong with me? Like, I know I keep the fresh and this on. So what is the problem? I know I ain't got big hips and boobs like some of my friends did. You know, because you know how that happened. And, you know, so I was older than some of them, a lot of them, but they look my age and I'm looking their age. You see what I'm saying? So I guess that was it too. I wasn't all pow, 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 pow. But, you know, whatever. So as time got going and all the stuff that I've been through, you know, I could have let that take control of who I grew up to be. Right. So it was like, I'm not going to sit here and beat myself up because my mother was on drugs, or I wasn't a foster care, or this, that, and the third. I just was like, I'm not going to look back on that and be bitter. I'm not going to hold that to make me feel like I'm less than. Right. So I did things that made me feel nice, made me feel good. I mean, it was crazy when I was really feeling myself and I started, this may sound TMI, but when you 18, 19, you feeling yourself and you doing things that you feel like you want to do. And when I was in that abusive relationship, he didn't allow me to wear thongs. He's like, oh, wear thongs. Excuse me, what? They are underwear. It's like, where you get that from? Right. You know, so all of that just came from my childhood, and I didn't have anybody to pat me on the back or compliment me or push me. Yeah. I did everything myself. I was my self-motivator, my talker. I looked in that mirror every day, talked to myself, you could do this, you are better than this, you conqueror. Like, even when I started going to church, all them words, I would say that to myself on a regular basis. Even if some days it would be okay, but when I'm feeling a little down, just like, the words, the scriptures come. Yeah. And I'm just speaking to myself, just what I can remember. That what stood out the most to me.
But that's what you had in your heart. They say you gotta hide some things in your heart. And that's what you had in your heart. And I feel like with having this exchange and having this conversation, because that's what we do. Mm-hmm. Whether you identify with being the person that pours into everybody, the role of humanity is to be able to do that for somebody else. And so with all that you've been through, with all that you've discovered, and all the places that you're going, to be able to pour in people, like, you have those tools to do so. And because you have those tools, you got young people that are going to look up to you, you got older people that, people that are older than you that are still look up to you, and you got people still your age that'll look up to you. So that's for that realization alone, that's a big deal. So congratulations to you for realizing that.
And that's where, because they would come up to me, they would say certain things, or they would ask me, how you do all these things and you got 4 kids? And that's how it come. Like, it's just crazy how I could be, somebody would inbox me, and I had a conversation with somebody on inbox, and it's just crazy. And I just be like, I just give it to them because someone had to do it to me. Yeah. Somebody had to do.
And they say that most people that live the most hell was the ones that have the stories and the testimonies that bring people through. Like, if it wasn't for everything that has transpired, not just one event, because everything caters to the buildup of our breakthrough. You get what I'm saying? So everything that we've all been through to get us to this point, it now shows us how and why we're being used. You get what I'm saying? And that's the greatest part of it all. Like, of course, in those moments, it felt like crap, felt like shit. But to get to the point where you're at the door and you're able to be like, you know what, sis, or even if it's young brother, like, I know those signs, and or I've been through that, and let me help you with just this. Whether you take it right now, whether you take it later, it's a planted seed. So,
yeah. And it's so crazy because the other thing that made me want to talk really more about even my domestic violence and anything that I went through in my childhood, and then it goes to church, is that when they say your testimony is for other people, it's not for you. You go through these things in life for other people. And that, I was like, what? Like, that blew my mind, and it kind of made me upset at the same time. I'm like, why did I have to go through this for somebody else? Like, what? And I mean, I was kind of a little, I was like
what? You mean to tell me? But that's how, when I first heard that, I kind of didn't quite understand it either the first time. And then I had a really good friend of mine. She told me, she said, look, she said, to me, you are that person. Like, I know I have a relationship with God. I know I can pray. But sometimes I feel like if God, like, busy real quick, like, you the one that could be like, hey, God, my homegirl down here, she needs you. Like, come on, I know you eating that sandwich or whatever. I don't know. I'm making these things up. But it's like, turn around and acknowledge her, like, right now. And she was like, that's how I view you. And I think because us as women have such callings on our lives, and because we go through, and it's not to discount our brothers and say they don't go through, but I'm a woman, so I can only speak from that perspective. But because we go through so many different things and trials and tribulations, it's like when somebody's telling you, you went through this for this person, it's because even in that moment, by the time you get in front of the next sister, you realize, like, I went through some hell, but this sister got like hell +2.
Yes.
Like hell +2. And her 2 is like teetering her on the edge of between life and death. And that's what you're living right now. You didn't die, you're living life. So the life that you're living and the life that you have is going to help this next sister to be like, come on, sis, you can live like I did. I live, you can live. Yeah. And when I had a quote here where I said that we are not created to have just one gift or talent. Every gift God has given us aids us to be what we were put here to be, and that's a help. So I want to give you that floor to be able to talk to our listeners, our women listeners, and just speak from the heart and give them a word of encouragement for the woman that either wants to go into business, for the woman that is battling with domestic violence, for the mother, for the wife, you know, for the business owner, for the entrepreneur. Like, give that woman that talking to.
No matter what your situation is, don't stop pushing. It's because you ain't grow up with that mother, that father, or both of them in the house, because you were suffering with low self-esteem, domestic violence. Don't give up. It's still life after all of that chaos. Just pick yourself up. It's okay to cry, dust yourself off, and move on with life. And to the business people or inspiring business people, I just want to say it doesn't take a whole lot to get started in a business. Start somewhere so that you can know what it's like and what it feels like. You only could either make it or you don't make it. You either say, at least I tried, or you didn't try. If you don't try, you will never know what it's like, what to do next. So that's what I did. I didn't wait till I had $5,000 to get started. Some things only took me $50, $25, and I just doubled up my money and reinvested back into my business. And sometimes that's all you have to do because you want to get it out there. I'm impatient. I don't got time to be waiting for all this other stuff because it may never happen because I may just forget about it and just be like, move on to the next. So that is all I have to say. And just know that you are a queen. Don't let nobody else tell you otherwise. You are a king. Don't let nobody else tell you otherwise. You just got to find what it is that you like doing, and you got to find what it is that how you could help somebody else and who you are, and be happy about it. And don't let nobody steal your joy regardless of whatever you've been through in life. And that's what I have done. I build up a wall. Sometimes it comes down. Sometimes it don't. But if it comes down and it looks like it's going to bring me down, it'll go back up. And I don't look back. Because I ain't got time for that. I got 4 kids to raise. And my future is bright. And I'm not going to let nothing dim my light.
Yeah. All right. And that's that. Spoken like a true queen. And I do want to thank everybody for watching Queen's Table.